How's everybody out there doing tonight? Looks like it's just me and you tonight there, Fawn. Glad today's over with. It wasn't fun having to clean up all that storm damage from the storms the other night. Took a good 6-7 hours to get it done, but we got it done. Hey, Fawn, how are you doing tonight? Are those storms still over your way, or did they finally go away? Been a clear blue sky tonight or today. Think I may have saw a few clouds earlier, but other than that, it's been pretty nice. Got to about 81, but felt more like the mid 70s with the wind we got going on. Getting caught up on rain. Well, we're still needing a little bit. Think we need at least a good inch before we're finally caught up on our rain deficit. If you can believe what the weather people are saying. I'm doing all right, just a little tired. Hadn't slept good the last couple of nights, and plan on catching up on some sleep tonight, though. Or at least that's the plan, anyway. Hopefully, as we keep this live stream going, some more people will hop in. If not, we'll have a fun two-person hangout. Either way, it should be fun. Angry Cage says something about he may show up, but hopefully he does. Got done with supper, so I shouldn't be too awful hungry. Had some grilled pork chops with macaroni. I ain't had that in a while. And Noah's always up to something. He's traveling all over doing ghost hunts and all that, but hopefully he'll find some time to hang out with us and tell us about his new adventure. I'm trying to get him down here to Alabama, do some ghost hunts down here, but just have to see how that goes. And I finally got another one to come hang out with. But yeah, Noah's been putting out some pretty good content here lately. Hey to whoever that other one was that popped in here with. They picked a fun time to want to go out on you. And I figured tonight, I'll answer some questions that y'all might have and give y'all some better insights on things or just something I might be curious about. I'm sure some of you's got some questions with some of the newer ones coming in that hadn't been around for a while. Neighbor's cat ended up having some baby kittens. I got to see a couple of them earlier. They haven't been able to open their eyes yet, but I figure here pretty soon they'll be able to start seeing and whatnot. I just got the one rechargeable earphones that I use. Well, I mainly use them right before I go to bed, or if Angry Cajun ever goes live and everything. But I guess it hurt free investing some more of. I got one of those to cover those noise cancellation ones. They work pretty good. I tried those AirPods ones that go all the way in the ear, but I kept on losing them. Probably went through 10 pair of them in a month because I kept losing one of them, or the one would get damaged and whatnot. Accidentally ran over one with a lawnmower one time. That kind of went flying out like a bullet, but hey, it all worked out. I guess that other one didn't want to hang out with us there, so I don't guess we were cool enough. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping he starts doing more live streams. I guess he's still a little busy with that new place he got, so hopefully he'll come along and start doing some more once everything gets situated out. I wouldn't mind him doing a live stream going around showing us his place and everything, and giving us a better look at it in the daytime at least. But yeah, those storms that came through Sunday night, I think we only had one tornado to touch down, something like that. It wasn't on the ground for maybe 4 minutes, and that was it. And it really didn't do no net damage outside of knocking trees down. Which I'd rather clean up trees and have to clean up storm damage. Well, I guess I'm hanging out with myself in here now. Yeah, well, hopefully eventually I'll start getting more people to want to hang out. Got some 3 or 4 movies that are coming out that I plan on going watching. If I ended up having to deal with some stuff at work and lost track of time I got home, and I got a couple of them started, but nobody showed up. So I was like, well, I'll just make up for it today. Plus, last night I had to go check out that damage out behind work to see what all we would need to do the cleaning up and everything. And we had about 7 or 8 chainsaws going today, and like I say, it took about 6-7 hours to get everything cleaned up. Life and times of having to work at Walmart is never ended. Even when you get a day off, it seems like they want you to come in for some dumb reason. But hey, it pays the bill, so I ain't gonna complain too much. Or at least makes it look good while the bills are getting paid. Yeah, they are pretty fun to go to. There's a few I'll hop on from time to time to see what's going on, and see what all the chit chat's going on about. I think the last one I was part of, it was a guy that talks about the Jurassic World movie, and he also makes short stories based on some of the other events that never made it to the movies or even in the books. So it's pretty fun to check out. It's Ollie Awards if you're into such stories like that. He does a pretty good job. Yeah, we got about 3 or 4 dump truck loads of firewood ready for whoever's going to want it this fall and winter when the weather gets cold. We still got people around here that uses firewood heat, and so I'm sure he'll sell them to somebody. And yeah, drama's never fun. I try to stay out of it, and every now and again I'll kind of ag it on at work from time to time, but for the most part I try to stay out of drama myself. That's like the guy that used to live up here by me that I told y'all about, that his place was, he believed was haunted, and we ended up having some drama with him and had to get lawyers involved, but that got took care of, and I ain't heard from him since then. It's always nice to have a good variety of people you watch. That way it never gets boring. I can't remember the amount of people I subscribe to and watch, but it is. I try to make it around a lot of these smaller channels to help them out. Outside of Bayou, there's two other guys here that's pretty close to where I live that's got pretty good channels going on. Vice Grips Garage. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of him, but he used to live up in Michigan or Illinois, somewhere along that line, and he moved to Tennessee, which is about where he lives. There is about an hour away from me, but what he does, he buys old rusted out vehicles and restores them, and now adds a bit of comedy to it, and well, he are in a lot of his videos, but I don't think he's a stalker and everything. You just like helping out the people you subscribe to, which I highly enjoy. As long as you ain't getting a hold of that sweet tea you love drinking and everything. And then there's another guy that lives about a 30-minute drive from where I'm at, Dustin Sims. He used to have his channel under that name, but it's the Unapologetic Podcast now. He started out making videos on YouTube where I had that face filter from Snapchat, and he got real famous off that. And now he's a stand-up comedian, does tours all over the United States, and still does podcasts and occasional short upload, but he's a pretty good one to check out. I get a good laugh out of it. I ain't got I had a couple of beers earlier, but I got my Dr. Pepper ready to go, so that's what I'm drinking on now myself. With the medicine I'm having to take to go to sleep at night, it ain't a good idea to mix it together with alcohol, because that would not make for a fun rest of the night. Been there and done that, and I ain't doing it again. But I had found a new alcohol. It was I forget the name of it, but it's a Dutch beer, and it's a twisted pretzel flavor. It's got a little bit of a bite to it, but it's well worth drinking for the people who love drinking. Now myself, I'm more of a moonshine guy, but I'll drink a beer on occasion. You can't believe half those people that watch Mozart. The people who follow those do the fake ghost hunts. They're too big of crybabies and have way too much drama going on for my taste. At least Bayou keeps it real. It's one of the things I like about Bayou. Keeps it real, and you may not always agree with what he has to say, but at least he keeps it 100%. He ain't going to lie to you or fake anything that goes on just to get people in there to view him, and which is kind of sad because the fakers make the people who keep it real look bad, and they end up getting a higher subscriber count, while smaller channels like him and Noah, Beardo gets scared, and Side Eye Guy, they pretty much keep it real as far as the ghost community goes. Really can't get a high subscriber count or a whole lot of watches or views. But I still watch all four of them, and I will up until the day either they quit YouTube or I pass away one. And if you ain't ever watched Side Eye Guy, he has a comedy to his debunking, but he's pretty fun to watch. He ain't put out a video. I think he put out one today for the first time since he got back from vacation. But yeah, Mo Sargi, he's pretty much a clown. He ain't worth watching in the long, not unless you enjoy a bit of comedy. What's going on? He does make it look funny and everything he does. Just like that guy Really Haunted. You can tell what he does is fake. But in the long run, the way he acts and the way he sets everything up, it turns into more of a comedy show than a actually, watching a guy's place get haunted, which we all know he fakes everything he does. Yeah, Side Eye Guy, he's well worth watching. I'd highly recommend him. He's from somewhere in the United Kingdom, and he has a bit of. He's been going after the twin paranormal real hard. Yeah, you would think with having two kids, he'd act more grown up about the way he does stuff, but I guess some people never truly grow up in the long run, no matter how old they get and how many kids they end. And then it makes you wonder how their kids are going to turn out. And that's like when I first started watching Beardo get scared. I originally didn't like him because of how him and Bayou was going after each other and everything. But the more I got to watching him, the more I got to like him. He brings up valid points and everything. And long as he stays away from wanting to start any arguments with Angry Cajun TV, I don't mind him one bit. I tried watching J Mac a few times, just really couldn't get into his content. Really wasn't for me. Nothing against anybody who might enjoy him. It just really wasn't for me. I couldn't get past the 5-minute mark on one of his videos, and I had to wander off and start watching something else. And then, see what else? Who else's channel was I watching? I'll think of it eventually. Haunted Sessions is a joke. I get more of a laugh out of them than I do the rest of the ones that fake their ghost hunts and everything. They're just as bad as Twin Paranormal is. The only good thing about those faker channels that do all those fake ghost hunts, some of the locations they go to, they do go some nice locations. But in the long run, they make everything look bad as far as the ones who does it and doesn't do any faking and everything. But I figure their time eventually will come to an end once people smarten up to how they do everything and fake their content just to get people to watch. Slowly but surely, there's some starting to figure it out and make their way to some of the ones who don't fake their content, but it's a slow process. I hadn't really watched a lot of them in a couple of years myself. I think I tried watching some Twin Paranormal earlier this year, and it was still just as dumb as it always was, and never gave them more of a thought until today. I used to like really haunted, but once I figured out, somebody has that much ghost activity going on, they'd have somebody legit coming in to check it out. And he never would have somebody legit come in and check it out. He seen a quick money maker and he went with it. But other than that, I try to stick to people who keep it real, and I've thought about uploading some of my ghost adventures on here and everything. I still may do it. Right now, it's kind of hard to really pinpoint what will get me a lot of views on here. And I know some of my Walmart content's still pretty popular. I'm still going to go with it because I'll never run out of stories on the tell what's going on at Walmart. Especially with a day like today, with seeing those dump trucks full of firewood rolling out from the trees we cut up. And had a few people try to stop them and buy some from them, but never did really see if anybody even was able to get some. And Patty and the G team, they really, after that interview they had with Bayou, they really went way downhill, especially with all that drama they had going on. really didn't help him out and really made her look bad in the long run. And it was sad she tried to drag Bayou into all that. It didn't help him out any, but from what I can see, he's bounced back from it. And outside every now and again, he'll have a few people take little snippets at him. For the most part, people has started leaving him alone, which I was glad to see that. I've been trying to get him to do more live streams because they do get pretty fun when he goes in there. And hopefully when we can start getting more people to show up in here, they can start getting more exciting. But, I'll just take it one step at a time and see how it all goes. I'm sure more people will start wondering in eventually. I want to ever get upgraded to a computer or even a laptop and get stuff attached to it. The quality of my live streams will start getting better. I know doing this on a cell phone, it doesn't look that great. And I understand that. But, I'll still keep pushing on for the Lolo people who come along and still watch me and everything. You can't believe everything Patty and all them say. They try dragging other people into their trauma, which it doesn't work out for in the long run, as you can see. And I noticed this morning when I was going to work, it was probably about 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock, something like that. Had a pack of coyotes out in the field next to me chasing a deer. Never saw if they caught it or not, but it was because we're around here, you really don't see coyotes a whole lot. Mainly, a lot of the farmers around here will shoot them because they do tend to get in there with their cattle and everything and either kill their cattle or try to kill their chickens. But a lot of them smartened up and started putting donkeys out in their pasture. And I know people think that's going to be weird to put a donkey out there, but believe it or not, coyotes are actually scared of donkeys. That's a little unknown fun fact for you. It's because a donkey will kick the crap out of a coyote. And I've seen what it does to a human when a donkey kicks them, so I could only imagine what a coyote is going to be having to go through if it gets kicked by one. I wished I would have, but I was still half asleep because I have to take sleeping medicine to go to sleep at night because I have real bad insomnia. And I was still a little foggy brain this morning, so if I'd have been a little bit more clear-headed, I would have caught it on camera because it was just light enough you could see what was going on. I'm hoping they didn't catch it. It had a pretty good lead on them, but coyotes are a lot like wolves. They'll work with each other to eventually get it, but I got my fingers crossed it got away. And down here in Alabama and I know parts of Georgia and Tennessee, game wardens are actually paying $20 a coyote you can bring into them. And there's something about a new disease that's going around. It's in deer right now, but coyotes are starting to get it from the meat they're eating from the deer, and they're wanting to people to kill them and bring them in to see what the effects on a coyote is. Because the way they talking about it acts in the deer, so it's something like a zombie virus-like effect on deer, where it pretty much starts rotting their flesh. I know this is going to be a little disgusting to talk about, but it starts to rot their flesh off, makes them act erratic, prone to want to attack people, and it glosses their eyes over if they're going blind, and they're wanting to see how the virus is acting in coyotes. And I'm sitting there thinking, why not put traps out to catch them alive? But then again, that could be seen as cruel if they don't make it back to them in time. So I can see that aspect of it. But it's starting to thin out the coyote population a little bit, which is great for A lot of us farmers around here. We have a few foxes here in North Alabama, but not many. I think in all the years I've been living here, I've only seen a fox 2 times. And the last one I seen was like 5 or 6 years ago. I'm sure they're still around somewhere. Just they just don't make an appearance like the rest of them do. Now we have had some eagles make their way back into Alabama because back in the 70s and 80s, their population got thinned out real bad because people were either killing them or the pesticides that the farmers were using, or even the game wardens were using to help thin out the grass population in the river would drop their population down a real bit, a whole lot. But the last couple of years since they've outlawed some of that, our eagle population has jumped up a whole lot. And from Scottsboro all the way up to the Tennessee state line, if you go up Highway 72, on any given day, it wouldn't be uncommon to see anywhere from 15 to 20 eagles flying around. And they got nests all over Scottsboro, and there's a few in Stevenson that's got nests. And there's one that's got a nest across the field from where I live, because I can see it flying down to the pond to catch fish. Has catched a few other things, but if I'm ever outside and I catch it flying around, I'll try to get video of it. And a few years ago, when my dad and one of his friends was riding around, they actually caught one giving itself a bath. But neither one of them thought about getting their phone out and recording it or even take a picture, because that would have been something to see. Yeah, they're pretty birds, and they get to be pretty good size. I've seen one up close. I went to a Auburn Tigers football game, even though I cheer for Florida, but I got free tickets to go to the game. So I was like, well, I ain't going to put free tickets to a waste. And if you don't know anything about Auburn football, before their game gets started and before the players on either side run out, in one of the press boxes, it's been tradition for at least 50 years that I know of. It's been around since longer than I've been alive, and I turned 40 this year. But they'll open this box up, and the eagle will take 3 laps around the stadium, and then there's a handler on the field that it'll fly to. He'll hold it a treat out, and it'll land on their arm, and they'll take it back to wherever it is they keep it. But at every Auburn home game, that's something they got going on. It's fun to see on TV. But if you ever get to see it in person, it's well worth watching. I highly recommend it. But who in the world can afford $500 to $1,000 for tickets just to go? And like I said, the only reason I went is because I got the tickets for free, because the guy who was going to go, he had a family emergency and didn't want to see the tickets go to waste. But if you ever get a chance, look up on YouTube. Look up Eagle Fly at the Auburn home game. It's fun to watch. I forget how many they've used over the years, because I can't remember how long the Eagles live. I don't think they have a real long. I think it's up to 10, 15 years they can live, something like that. I might be wrong. But yeah, it's pretty fun to watch, and they are pretty birds, and they can take off. They can get a hold of some pretty good sized animals, D. So if you're in an area that has a lot of them, I definitely keep a watch on your pets, because it wouldn't be. No, I've seen them pick up goats on TV and take off, or not on TV, but on YouTube and take off with them. So that might be something to watch. And here in the last couple of years, we've had bears coming into here in the northeast corner of Alabama. They've made it as close as 5 minutes up the road from me, and Then there's been some along the Tennessee. Well, they was always on the border of Tennessee and Alabama line, but they started wandering through here lately. And I actually asked a game warden once if we was allowed to shoot them. And we're not allowed to kill them because hunting's illegal for Alabama. Hey, I'll be back in a second. Oh, hey, there we go. Yeah, them hawks, they're just as bad as the eagles on wanting to try to pick up small animals, and don't really matter what it is, they'll try to pick it up too. But yeah, I asked a game warden once if we're allowed to shoot a bear, and here in Alabama it's illegal because we don't have a bear season. But they did say if one's trying to get into your vehicle or in your house and is posing a threat to you and your family, you are allowed to take them out. But only if it's a self-defense type deal. So, I ain't worried about it, Miss Fawn. They'll eventually start to show up. I'm sure they got something else going on, or I just have a coughing fit every now and again. It happens since I started smoking. I've had a real bad cough and everything. I've tried quitting, but it with how bad things been going at Walmart with everything, I finding it hard to give up on smoking. But I'll eventually quit coughing and everything, so it'll all work out. But yeah, as far as nobody being here, I still believe in time more people start coming in and everything. I do realize my content's a little on the boring side, and it's not for everybody. But I do appreciate the loyal followers who'll come in and check it out and leave a a view or a comment. Yeah, bears are kind of scary. These are just your regular black bears, and they're not as bad as the brown bears are on attacking people. But black bears are more afraid of people, and they actually try to avoid them. Now, if you come across some baby black bears, the mother will do everything in her power to protect them, which I understand. And that goes for humans and animals and all that. Somebody you don't know is messing with your kids, you're going to go out of your way to protect them, even if it means your life. But yeah, black bears are scary. But the black bear to human attacks are on the low side. Because, like I said, mainly they, even though they're a large species of predators and everything, they too tend to run away from humans or try their best to avoid them unless there's something wrong with them or you're messing with one of their kids. Now, in places that have brown bears and grizzlies, now that's a whole different story. Those things, they don't care what you are, who you are, how big you are, if you mess with them or not. There's a good chance you'll end up getting bothered by one or at least attacked. That's why I'm glad we don't have any around here. Yeah, you got to watch out as far as messing with the babies on the baby birds, because I know this is a sad fact to say that if you do mess with the baby birds or the nest or the eggs, the mother bird will completely abandon them. Something about they can smell humans on it, and it just drives them away, and they'll completely abandon the nest and the birds, and it doesn't end good in the long run. I don't know why they do that. It's been a while since I've seen a documentary on that, but they will flat out abandon the nest. That happened to my grandma one time. She came across this nest. The tree had gotten pushed down during a storm, and the nest was on the ground, and the babies were kind of on the ground and whatnot. She put them back in the nest, and she noticed the mama bird never came back. Don't know if she was killed or she just smelt the smell of humans on her babies and just abandoned them. But she ended up taking care of them, and I think one ended up sadly passing away. But the rest of them kind of grew up and flew away, and they kind of stuck around for a while and kind of took off and went and done their thing. But it's kind of tricky when it comes to baby birds because birds are weird and everything. That was like when my brother-in-law was having to clean up from a tree he cut down. Didn't know there was a bird nest in it, but every time we tried to go get one of the babies that fell out of the nest to put it back in there, the mother bird would attack us. And eventually she was able to pick up the baby bird, take it to the nest, and we just didn't bother till the birds were old enough to fly out on their own, and don't know what happened to them after that. This was probably about 5 years ago when all this went down. I'm sure there's been a couple of generations of them since then. But yeah, when it comes to birds, it's tricky. I always liked the bluebirds. I can't remember what they're called, and I ain't even going to try to figure out what the name of them was without looking it up on Google. But it's a pure bluebird. They're pretty. I like looking at them. You have to get away from the mountain around here to find them, but they are pretty to look at, and woodpeckers are pretty fun. And if you can find them, owls are fun to look at. I seen one last night coming home from work, and yeah, blue jays. Those are pretty nice birds. There's some around here, but you have to get away from the part of the mountain I'm at to find them, which is a sad thing. It's like I say, they are pretty birds to look at. And we have like a lot of geese and ducks around here because I'm probably about a 10-minute drive from the river, and there's a couple of ponds around from where I live at, so we get to see a lot of geese and ducks, and they're pretty nice to look at. If I ever seen a McGaw, I didn't know what it was. I'm pretty sure I've seen them. I'll have to look that up and everything, but birds in general, doves are pretty nice now. I'll admit, during my teen years and early 20s, I used to go dove hunting. But I didn't hunt for sport. I mainly hunted because I like the taste of a wild game that you can get out of the woods because it doesn't have that. You ain't got to worry about any chemicals are put in them like you would in a store. But they do make for some good eating. I haven't dove hunted in probably 17, 18 years. It got to the point that you couldn't find nowhere to go dove hunting, and it was getting more and more expensive and harder to find good places where the doves were coming through. And yeah, parrots are pretty fun to have. My late uncle's mom had one she kept for years and years, and one day she was cleaning his pen out, had to let it fly around the house, and I think one of her kids came through and the bird got out. This was back when we lived a few miles up from where I'm living now, but the bird got out. She tried to find it, and we could hear it we could hear it making noises and everything, but we couldn't ever find it, and it wouldn't ever come back to us. And I have no idea whatever happened. I'm pretty sure it's dead by now. This is like 24, 25 years ago. I don't think parrots live that long. Swans are all right. They're pretty looking. We don't have a whole lot of them around here, which is sad. Wish we did. And then them birds that have the different colored feathers on them. I can't remember those things, the name to those things, but those are pretty fun to look at. The only place around here you're going to be able to find them is at a zoo. And it's very rare I ever go to the zoo. I went to the zoo, I think it was last year, the year before, something like that. And I went with a friend of mine because his youngest son, he was in kindergarten at the time. And it was getting close to the summertime. They had one of the last field trips they went on to was the Birmingham Zoo. And they didn't have enough chaperones or parents going. And they sent out an email and a flyer said, if people wanted to go, they could. They had to do a background check with the school, which I understand. You don't want anybody just going with kids because you never know who in the world you get going. I can understand that. And they charge us like $10 a person to go. So I was like, all right, I'll go. And then his brother went with us. And the zoo we got there in Birmingham, I think it's close to 5 miles big. And it had just about any animal you could think of there. And one of them was the peacocks. And they were pretty fun to look at. They was in the same enclosure as ostriches, which I think was pretty weird. And they had pink flamingos. Now, if you ain't never seen a pink flamingo, those things are pretty weird to look at, and they're pretty interesting. I try to do longer videos. Most of the time when I can get a longer video going, it's usually the ride-alongs. And those aren't really a real big popular on here. But I'll still make them and still do them because I know there's some of y'all that enjoy it. And but most of the time I'm usually struggling to get 4 to 5 minutes. And I'm not really good at getting or at least not yet, getting my story all together to make an interesting long video, but I'll get it there eventually. That's why I wanted to do these longer live streams, but that way, people can talk to me, I can talk to them, y'all can ask questions. Because as you've seen, they're fun, and Angry's live streams, it does get fun. Yeah, I don't think pink flamingos over here in the United States, I don't think there's very many, but I know the Birmingham Zoo's got some. And they even had an enclosure where there was some bamboo growing, where squirrels live at. And it's kind of weird having squirrels in a zoo because they're everywhere. But they didn't have no fence on them, but it was in a part of an area that people could walk through and everything and see them. And there was a few people that got bit, but they were idiots because they was trying to pet them. And they don't want you touching the animals, which I can understand. That's a liability. And they also had, I think it's crocodiles that can live in fresh water. They had this one spot for some crocodiles. And even ran across something I have never in my life seen before. When I seen it, I thought it was a spotted leopard, but it was actually a spotted black panther. And I didn't realize Black Panther could would be that light shade of color. If you didn't know anybody, you was thinking you was looking at a leopard. But it was actually a Black Panther. It's very rare. You'll see one that color. I think it's like one or two in every 10, 15 million of a chance that happens. But they're good to look at. You can look it up. They're pretty. They're just as beautiful as the black panthers are. And tortoises are fun to look at. Sadly, the zoo we was at didn't have any, and I don't think they've ever have. Only been there 2 times. Once was in kindergarten. Once was a couple of years ago. But they did have lions, elephants, giraffes, different types of birds, snakes. They even had some sea otter or some otters there. And what I thought was funny is the same enclosure where the otters is living, they had porcupines living in there with them. And you wouldn't think that would have been a great combination of animals living together, but they said the whole time they've lived together, they've had no problems. So I guess they get along pretty well, or one of them might got us stuck by a porcupine. They learned their lesson. And took a little train that went around through there. That was pretty fun. Gave me a break from walking because I was still recovering from the major knee injury I had at the time, and I just got done. I just got off a doctor's orders of having to use a cane, and I still had to wear the knee brace at the time. But I paid for it the next 2 days because I was sore as crap after all that walking around. But yeah, the tortoises, they're fun to look at, and they actually have a long lifespan. I think they can live a couple of 100 years. Yeah, zoos are pretty fun. It's the two closest ones we got around here is the Birmingham Zoo, and there's one in Chattanooga, along with the Chattanooga Aquarium, and a Chattanooga train depot that you can actually ride around on train. You don't go very far, but they're pretty fun. I just went, zoos and stuff like that are fun and everything. You get to see animals that you wouldn't otherwise, because I don't plan on ever going overseas. We got a few of those giant frogs around here. If you can find some of the, like some of the back swampy areas of the river, you can find them, but you're going to find a lot of poisonous snakes in around with it. And you don't see a lot of fishermen are going through there unless you're doing a lot of catfishing, where you make money off of catfishing, like putting trot lines out, which is these really thin ropes that you think you can put up to like 20 hooks at, and you'll set it out to catch catfish with. Now they wander into some of those backwaters where you'll find them giant frogs, but we do have a few around here in the more swampy areas. I only been back through there once or twice and seen some things I didn't like back there, and we got out of there pretty quick. And now we're starting to get crocodiles in and around the Tennessee River, because used to the crocodiles never came this far up into Alabama. I think they usually stopped around Tuscaloosa or Birmingham, which is about between a 4 and 7 hour drive, depending on which one you're going to from here. But from Decatur, which is on the other corner of the state from me, all the way to where I'm at, they've been finding more and more crocodiles show up. And people have quit swimming in the river, which I don't blame them, but people quit swimming in the river a long time ago because it's kind of polluted, especially with the power plants along the rivers. And that, on top of that, some of the fish in the river started getting these diseases that they want you trying to touch them unless you got gloves on your hand. And then they want you to sanitize your hands once you got done fishing. But it is starting to add a different aspect of wanting to go out there fishing and jet skiing now that crocodiles are moving in. and they're just as dangerous as the alligators are. And we've all seen the documentaries on how bad they can get. Well, we had a pretty good 50-minute live stream, even though there's only a couple of us here, but it was fun. I want to get off here and start getting ready to get everything ready to go to bed and go to work tomorrow. I'll do another live stream somewhere right around Friday, and hopefully more people show up. I do understand this is a work day for a lot of people, and maybe not a lot of them want to show up. So, I get that. So, Miss Fawn, I hope you stay safe up there. And if anybody else is in here with us, hope y'all have a safe rest of your night. Yeah, alligators and crocodiles are pretty cool to look at, but I'm not going to get no closer to them than I have to because they are pretty dangerous. If you ain't never watched that show, Swamp People, it goes into a lot of detail on what they do with them after they catch them. It's a pretty educational show. But anyway, Miss Fawnala and anybody else here, y'all have a good rest of y'all's night. I'll be putting up some more videos between now and Friday. But I'll definitely see y'all in those videos, and I will see y'all in the next live stream. Like I say, it'll be Friday night. God bless, and y'all have a good rest of y'all's night.